Most people are half-hearted, half interested, half engaged in their actual dream and actual ambition. Self-perception should always have a component of self-evaluation compared to where you want to be. When you are in silence in a way in which you are suffering because of fear, you are not going to be able to serve.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men all my life. Like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Own your ambition.
Most people are half-hearted, half interested, half engaged in their actual dream and actual ambition because they either fear it or they feel insecure or incapable. And teaching people, I literally just had this conversation with one of the most successful people in literally the world, in the top 0.0001% category of revenue, has not fully expressed and owned their ambition. Instead, people apologize for their ambition, hide their ambition. You have to learn to own your ambition, speak of the ambition, chase the ambition, drive the ambition, and lead the ambition. It is a full both allowance, back to the words, allowance of the ambition and an active generation of that ambition. The further you are from your ambitions, the more miserable you are. And most people don't even look at their goals every day. So no wonder we have a world that says, I'm disconnected. It's like, no, wake up. Like I ask people all the time, did you look at your goals today? That's literally personal development 101 is have goals, look at them. Most people do not do that. I want you to not goals. I want you to deeply visualize, feel, sense, and talk about your ambitions way more. Like I love that about you. You're like, I'm gonna build the friggin' Disney of this nonsense. And everybody around you knows it. You know how rare that is? That's one reason I love you. People who are scared to communicate about their ambitions are cheating themselves in the world from supporting them. I coached an Olympian. I love this. It's in High Performance Habits. I wrote really briefly about it. But she had won several world records and world championships, but never a medal. And this was a big goal for her. And then she did, and I was working with her. And then afterwards, we were having this conversation. I said, what made the difference? She says, you know what? One day, it wasn't training. It wasn't nutrition, it wasn't diet, it wasn't everything we talk about. She goes, one day, I just started shouting from the rooftops that I wanted to win a gold medal. I started telling everybody around me. And she had this great say, she says, when you shout from the rooftop what you want, two things happen. One, the village idiots come out and judge you. All the village idiots. She says, but also the village leaders come out and go, see this. Let's set this person up. She said, all of a sudden, the right coaches, the right dietitians, the right former gold medalists, the right teammates came out, and all of a sudden she had a community who were galvanizing behind this vision and ambition she had that she'd never achieved, even though nothing changed in her physical body. It was like she communicated the ambition, the tribe arrived, the goal was achieved. Complete game changer.
Rule number 2, be decisive.
One of the higher performers in the world, Jeff Bezos, who started a little company called Amazon.
Tiny.
He talks about this idea that he and executive team makes decisions when they have about 60% of the information.
So I'm 10% above Jeff Bezos. So
yeah.
I should
But
bring that.
you think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. A person and a team that could get all the information in the world, what they do is they're moving forward, even when they don't have everything. And what perfectionists do, what they don't realize is there's a difference between perfection. Remember, perfection is to perfect, in motion, iterative, moving. It's active. What they also can't admit sometimes is the real struggle is they're indecisive. Most perfectionists, they actually know the next moves. And I'm like, go, SWAT team, make it happen. It really sit. drop it, do it, go. And I'm cheering them on. I'm like, go. Like for everyone listening, you need to know high performers are decisive, not because they are like, I know everything and I've got clarity. I know. They know if they don't drop it, if they don't release it, if they don't do it, they can't iterate it and make it better. They can't learn, just like you said. And worse, they can't be of service. Because when you're in silence in your life, and you're in silence because of fear in your life, not silence like the way you and I talk about it in a positive way, being still and silent inside, that's a positive thing. But when you are in silence in a way in which you are suffering because of fear, you are not going to be able to serve. You have to be in motion to serve. You have to release things to perfect it. You got to be decisive. Almost everybody listening, I did this course with the Oprah Winfrey Network called Your Next Bold Move. And that language of being bolder, everybody listening probably should do that.
Rule number 3, have deep appreciation for life.
When you have real reverence for life, when you have a deep gratitude and appreciation, I like a deep gratitude and appreciation for life, you don't hold on to a lot of yesterdays. You notice the changing fall colors now. You notice the free space that you have now. You notice the time and the choices and the opportunities available to you now. Yesterday's not such a big deal. You don't hold the baggage. And here's how you know if you're holding baggage. You know in your heart there's baggage there when you keep playing small. When you keep minimizing yourself to other people in your current situation, that's because the self showing up is the self lugging the baggage, feeling bad about themselves, letting it weigh down. When you're free and spirited in this moment, when you're truly present, free from yesterday, like when you're present right here, that authenticity, that spirit shines through. And listen, the same people who completely shut you down yesterday, when they go to shut you down today, you go, hey, that's not okay. Maybe the old you, let them shut you down. The new you, today you, the old you, let them shut you down because you had hurts and feelings and old stories and you labeled yourself differently and you let yourself be put in your place by somebody. Today, the place you've been put on is a fresh ground of earth. Today, the place that you've been put in is this moment. And this moment doesn't reek of yesterday. When the sun set yesterday, it set. When the sun rose this morning, it was fresh. There were new birds around your house, not old birds. They moved on too. You got to kind of get it in your mind at some point that this day, if you have real reverence for life, you don't meet the day as you did in high school. Because if you have reverence for life, you recognize that all those struggles brought you here. That all those struggles were necessary to make a new you, a fresh you, that you gotta release some of those hurts, man, and those pains, girl, and those stories, my friends, because they're old. And how can you possibly touch the rim of your potential of the future? How are you gonna get lift to be able to leap up there and grab it when you got 40 pounds of old stories of stupid stuff you did in high school, or the way they treated you when you were 10, or the way they talked to you when you were 30? Like, you're in a different place now. And you need to be in this place light on your feet. Because how many of you think, like, the truth is right now, you need to be able to adapt? I mean, the world's in chaos. You need to be light on your feet, right? Like, if you've ever taken dance classes before, when you're heavy on your feet, it's because your body moves in the old ways. The more you learn to be present in the moment, the more you get light on your feet. And all of a sudden now, when your partner turns this way, boom, you can go that way, because you're not thinking about the way you went 100 times ago. You're there with that person dancing. And now it's real, it's alive, and you're creating something new and unique between you. You need to do that with the moment, like now. Like, the chaos of the world and the abundance of the world and the opportunities of the world have never been intersecting the way that they are right now.
Rule number 4, define yourself.
Have you ever had the pain point where you perceive yourself different than everybody else around you? You know, you think you're this great, amazing person and other people around you are being mean. Or maybe sometimes you're like down on yourself, but everyone's like, no, you're awesome, I love you, what's wrong? I love you. If you ever had that, it's like there's this challenge sometimes between our self-perception and how other people perceive us. So the first thing you have to do is make sure every single day that you have a very clear intention for who you want to be. I know you've been watching my YouTube hopefully for a long time and you hear me talk about this. You can't keep bumbling into each day and just reacting all day. You have to have an intention for like, what kind of person do I want to show up to the world as? Like, how do I want to be perceived? And be really clear about that. Don't just like wander into social situations all throughout high school, all throughout college, all throughout your professional life, showing up as you do normally. Instead go, how do I really want to be in the situation? How do I want to feel in the situation? How do I want to treat people in the situation? How do I want other people to perceive me? Not in some kind of method of conformity, but rather like, what's the real me? If you can't articulate the real you, please don't ask other people to figure it out. If you're not clear about your own values, how you want the world to see you and what you want to accomplish, please don't ask the world to know who you are and what you're about. So it begins with that intention, that clarity of self first. You got to do the homework, you got to do the personal development, you got to read the books, you got to geek out on figuring out your values, your drives, how you want to show up to people, what your goals are. Because if you don't know it, I promise you, we're never going to figure it out. And I think a lot of people are really miserable in their life because they're like, no one understands me. But they don't understand themselves, or they don't understand themselves and communicate who they are. So it all begins with intention, all begins with clarity. You gotta start by defining yourself and every day look at it. I mean, like literally every day, like what are the words that should define how you're gonna be today? I have people write that down every single day. Like I wanna be a person who is, and write it out. I wanna treat other people like this. Because if every day you show up as that person and you treat people like this, then integrity starts happening in your life. You have that congruence of being who you really want to be, and more people see you on a consistent basis being like you versus scattershot, just reacting or conforming or trying to fit in. Now, when you know you and you show up as you more often, they go, I get you.
My friend Evan Carmichael's book, listen, humans are built to serve. Some people are built to serve the world, others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Rule number 5, track your habits.
You have to have daily intention and habit tracking. You can't leave your personal development to randomness. And what most people do, they leave their personal growth to randomness, and so they're always in the land of mediocrity. You have to have that morning routine and that evening routine of evaluating where you are and where you want to go and asking the hard questions of what is it about me that's not moving forward? What is it about me that I need to accept, love, care for, take care of, do a better job with? How do I treat other people so I can get ahead faster? What do I need to focus on? If you don't do that on a daily basis, you're going through the motions. And even if you're successful, imagine how much more successful you would be if you were way more intentional and you actually tracked your habits. This is why we developed the High Performance Planner, because I wanted it. I was like, I know how easy it is to go through a day, you hustle all day, and you crash at the end of the day. I know the 100-hour work weeks. I know how that feels. I know what that's about. But if you're doing all of that and you're not aware, that leads to a nightmare. That leads to you take the wrong path and you're hustling down the wrong path. You lean the ladder against the wrong building. You do the wrong thing. The awareness on the daily is something people need to build into a routine and physicalize. Like write, not a note on your phone, a journal, workbook, planner, something that you actually connect pen to paper, you think through. And if we can get you ambition, clarified ambition, speak the ambition, own the ambition, and you're actually intentional in tracking each day, you win this game.
Rule number 6, ask for help.
Being bold is asking sometimes. Not just taking some huge action, it's asking for help. I wish as a 19-year-old kid, I could look back and say, hey kid, man, you're gonna kill yourself. Ask someone for help. Tell someone what's going on in your head. Raise your hand. Like, admit it, be vulnerable. And I didn't know that. That would have been bold. That'd have been bold, been vulnerable. And bold doesn't have to be SWAT team, take down the world. Sometimes ask for help, put yourself out there, and know you'll figure out, you'll catch that clip, you'll figure it out, you'll get it going on, you'll improve, but move.
Rule number 7, do progress checks.
Make sure that you're doing progress checks. I know a lot of people who feel like, you know what, I'm amazing, I get a lot done, I'm awesome, and yet they are still living in their parents' house and they're 50. You know, a lot of people's self-perception isn't real because their self-perception is never checked against progress. Self-perception should always have a component of self-evaluation compared to where you want to be. Because a lot of people think they're great, but they haven't done anything in 7 weeks. A lot of people think they're also not good, but they've had so much progress, they're not giving themselves credit. We got a lot of people who are so amazing in their life, but they never feel amazing because all the progress they get, they never look at it. And they never integrate those wins, integrate that progress, integrate that momentum. And so their identity feels weak, they feel bad about themselves, they hate themselves, even though they're amazing. And sometimes we have to tie a little bit of our perception to our progress because that just makes it real. I know people comment and go, well, you don't understand, Brendon, that's a dangerous thing to do because some people, if they're not getting any progress, they'll hate themselves. No, this isn't about hating yourself. It's about being real with yourself. Like, if you're not progressing towards your goals, call a spade. Be like, you know what? I'm not showing up enough. I'm not giving my full. I'm not like playing intensely. I'm not protecting my time and handling my time well. I'm not speaking up for my truth. Sometimes you got to be real with yourself before you know yourself. Sometimes you got to acknowledge the fact that you're not progressing, and that will spark something on you. Go, you know what? I don't want to feel like a loser. I don't want to feel like I'm not doing things. And I know that language is hard for people because no one wants to feel like a loser and no one wants to feel like they're not doing anything. But sometimes it's okay. I mean, there's times in my life when I want to be a writer, and many of you guys know I've written 6 best-selling books now. But I'm telling you, before that period of time, I kind of hated myself because the truth was I wanted to be a writer, but I wasn't writing. And at some point I had to own that and go, you know what? It's okay I feel crappy about myself as a writer because I'm not writing. And that internal angst can sometimes become fuel and fire. The main thing is don't let the internal angst stop you and hate yourself. Instead, acknowledge it is real, call a spade, and get back in there and improve. Approach your life as an opportunity to grow and progress faster, and your self-perception will start to align with it. Like your self-perception, your confidence, how you feel about yourself, if you can align it with real progress, you'll feel momentum and the depth of your character. If you have the bad days or the bad weeks or the bad months, you got to acknowledge it and be okay with it. Don't hate yourself, but go, I can do better. What's my next project? What's my next progress checkpoint? What's the next milestone? And get back on track again, and you'll find yourself feeling better and people perceiving you in more of your truth, which is a capable, competent, confident person.
Rule number 8, share.
The highest performing people in the world are courageous. But the way that they practice that courage is in a very simple, elegant way. They share their true thoughts, feelings, needs, desires, requests with others more often than underperformers. Underperformers kind of keep it all in. They're embarrassed about what they want. They fear judgment, so they don't share. And if they share and they get judgment or pushback, they shut down. Where high performers, they share, they also get judgment and pushback, but they keep going. And that's a critical difference of success in life. So I'm encouraging you in 2019, be more open, more consistent, more honest, more courageous in sharing. What's up? What do you want? What do you need this year? Where could you use some help? What are those big ambitions? What's that big mountain you want to climb that other people might make fun of you for doing? If you're not sharing that with the immediate people around you, including your spouse, your partner, significant other, your wife, your husband, your family, the kids, then what's up with that silence?
Rule number 9, be generous.
Here's what's beautiful about high performance, and this is really important. There's success, but in the way we measured high performance means you succeed beyond standard norms over the long term while maintaining well-being and positive relationships.
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. That's why I love your podcast. because so much of what you come back to is relationships. But high performers don't burn out relationships. They don't take people for granted. In fact, it's like Booker T. Washington taught us, there's two ways to exert strength. One is pushing down, the other is pulling up. And high performers, they're the pulling up kind. That's why high performers also don't report being lonely at the top. One of my mentors, Brian Tracy, said, if you're lonely at the top, you did it wrong. But high performers, because you're lifting people up, it's almost like you have a chorus of people, right? You got a tribe. You lifted people up along. You were generous with people as you rose. And that's what our research, what became so famous about high performance habits was we could measurably prove long-term success and say, wait, you can have long-term success and maintain your health and your relationships? That's possible? Because most people think you have to compromise. You got to become a jerk or you can't work out.
Yeah.
That's
or
not
you
true.
can't be married, or you can't have a long-term relationship.
Or you can't have kids.
Yeah.
Or you tell all these stupid stories.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is ask for feedback.
Let's say you got a job and you have a great meeting and you feel good about the meeting. Lots of people will walk out and just go celebrate and they'll go, I guess I did a great job. Instead, ask other people like, how did that meeting go for you? How do you think I did? Was there anything else I could do better? How do you think of the way I talked to this person? Is there anything that you feel like I missed? And just start asking other people to share their perceptions of you and your performance. It is the gutsiest, scariest thing in the world for people to do because most people don't want feedback. But if you never solicit feedback, if you're not consistent in asking for it, then people just don't say it. And then one day they're like, well, I think you're like this. And you're like, how could you say that? We've been in a relationship for 10 years. And they're like, I guess you never asked. So you got to ask. Ask consistently and constantly in almost everything you do. Be like, how is that? Did I come across as this? I was trying to go for that. Did it work? I mean, even as we're shooting this video, today I shot a couple of these and I asked my team, I'm like, do you think that was like too slow? Was it too fast? Did I get my points across? Because if you don't ask that, you don't know. And a lot of the external feedback that comes from others can give you the real direction for how to be better. I know it's scary. I know it's like, well, people might say negative things, but if you realize all you're trying to do is learn, not judge, everything goes fine. If all you're trying to do is say, hey, just give me the honest feedback and don't worry about saying it exactly right. I won't get hooked. I won't get mad. You got to actually have those conversations with people. Allow them to share the feedback and don't take it personally. Take it as a learning point that either applies and is true for you or not. Like, I get a lot of feedback. I'm like, I don't agree with that. That's not true. I don't think that's true for me. I'll try to do better next time to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I don't ever hold it against other people. Now, is it true that some people are going to be mean to you? Is it true some people are going to call you names? Is it true some people are going to be hard on you? Yeah, that's part of life. So don't be surprised by it anymore. You're too old now to be surprised by other people being a jerk to you. You should know that it's going to happen. You should know people are going to give you negative feedback. And what you have to do is start learning to take feedback from people who know how to deliver it. If someone gives terrible feedback and they're a terrible jerk and they're always that way, man, don't take that personally. Just know that's their style, that's their thing, that's their life, that's their, axe to grind, not yours. You want to find the people in your life who know how to give good feedback, and you want to ask them for more of it.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch something and get motivated and just get inspired, you have a 35% chance of actually following through. But when you get motivated and then you actually create an action plan for what you're gonna do, you increase it from 35% to 91% chance of you actually following through. And when you share your plan publicly, that jumps to 95% chance of following through. So I want that for you. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Go have meetups with your customers. Go have scheduled time to sit down with real life customers to talk about their experience, how your product helps them, what they think of your brand, what they think of your message, what they think of you. Because what happens is a lot of times, especially in this world, the real engagement that influencers or people with celebrity or big businesses have is here. And they're talking, they're DMing, they're looking at the comments, they're replying to the emails. But this is no substitute for someone looking you in the eye and saying, hey, thank you for creating that product. Thank you for all the team and all the work and all the things that I don't even know about that must take for you to make the difference in the world. Because there's not just validation there, which is nice. There's real connection there. And you'll learn a lot. You know, I have customers telling me about things that products and programs we put out 5, 6, 7 years ago and they're really excited about. And they're like, are you gonna bring that back? Or, hey, you know what? I have this one thing. I mean, part of the genesis of the High Performance Planner, this is what I used in my life to organize my life and to organize me. And it was something that I've been doing for years and years and years. I didn't really have the full vision of doing it the way that we ultimately launched it until I talked to, you know, a curbillion people who had read this and were looking to operationalize, you know, the mindsets and habits that successful people have. And it really put a fire under my butt. I was kind of put this off a little bit more to finish another project, but I talked to so many people who had this that made me launch this early and on time.
If you want 10 more awesome rules from Brendon Burchard, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You need to learn versus judge when it comes to your behaviors and your results in life. One reason people lack motivation is